Hello and welcome to the Batcave, your secret hideout for Brawl gameplay videos and deck techs. I'm your host, BlindBat8719. On today's video, I'm going to be playing for you an Angel tribal deck commanded by Firja, Judge of Valor. Before I go over the deck, I just want to make a quick ask of my audience. Hit the subscribe button down below, help me grow my channel, and if you like the deck, share the list with your friends please. With all that out of the way, today's video of Firja, Judge of Valor comes as a request from one of my viewers, TG. TG, this one is for you. You said you liked Angel Tribal and you liked the artwork style, so I went and got that for you. Firja, Judge of Valor. 2 white, black, legendary creature, Angel Cleric, flying lifelink. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard and choose a 2/4. So the problem with Angel Tribal, this is going to be a fun deck. It's not the most competitive, and I'm hoping that the matchmaking will work out well. But one of the issues with the Angels is that they tend to be more mid to end game spells, and therefore they're easily disposed of. So there is a way I found to counteract that. I started out by making sure there was enough mana fixing or mana ramp and enough card draw in the deck to keep refilling my hand. I don't really take advantage too much of Firja's ability to a triggered ability. So I wanted to make sure I had adequate card draw outside of her. I wanted to make sure that I had adequate ramp, and I wanted to make sure that I had ways of protecting the board that I created, either by casting protection spells, like board saving spells, or by playing some reanimation effects. So, like I was saying, this is an Angel tribal deck. Let's start off with all the Angel cards, starting with Speaker of the Heavens, which he himself is a human cleric, but if I happen to have 7 or more life, and there's a slight little bit of a life game theme in this deck, it's more incidental because a lot of the Angels have lifelink. I chose not to take advantage of all that life game with playing cards like Heliod and whatnot, just because I think it made the deck a little less focused, a little more chunky with what I had in mind. But if later on in the late game, this could be a beating where I can get 4/4 flyers a turn. Youthful Valkyrie is just a 2-drop for me to get some easy an early creature out there. It's one of the few things I can actually bring back with the Silverquill command, so it's kind of nice to have her. Righteous Valkyrie is actually one of the more important key cards in the deck, with, again, the incidental life gain, and then it ends up being a Anthem effect, making my creatures that much more powerful. Resplendent Marshal is another one that can pump my team. The pump probably happens more later in the game. Otherwise, it's just a really great cost 3-drop. Starheim Unleashed is one of the finishers in the deck. Most often, I'm going to be foretelling this, and then I want my X value to probably be about 3. So I basically, the total converted mana cost of the mana value will be 7 when I want to cast a spell to get 3 4/4 Angels, and by that point, that should be enough to win the game. Eradicator Valkyrie. Just maybe an incidental sacrifice. They only have 1 creature out, and I have usually what I try to sacrifice is the token from the Birth of Meletis. But if there's something it's been stranded on my side of the field, or something that's not doing is pulling its weight, I could use it to try to get rid of something my opponent might have. Firja's Retribution creates an Angel, makes all of my Angels basically turn into almost like tap to destroy a target creature. For the most part, I mean, the big stuff they can't deal with, but it's still a nice touch. And then if I happen to have some Angels on board for 3rd chapter, the Double Strike is absolutely amazing. Angel of Destiny is probably how I'm going to win most of the time, with the secondary win clause of having more than 15 life than my starting life total. So in this format, that would be 40. So if I can get the 40 life and swing with Angel of Destiny, I will win the game. Baneslayer Angel is just an old favorite of mine because I was around when it first came out in M10, so I was very happy to able to play with this card again. Rampage of the Valkyries creates a 4/4 flying vigilance creature, and then whenever one of my Angels dies, my opponent has to sacrifice a creature, which is kind of nice. Valkyrie Harbinger, again, there's some incidental life gain. This is one of the payoffs from that life gain, that if I gain 4 more life in a turn, I can get a 4/4 Angel again. And then Amiria's Call is more in here as a low cost of inclusion card. It can most of the time will probably be a land. The non-Angel Indestructible isn't going to really factor as much, but 7 mana to get 2 4/4s I think is worth playing. Now with the reanimation aspect, I'm running Nullpriest of Oblivion. That can be just it's another 2-drop, so I at least have some early plays or something cheap that I can cast, maybe for the second, be my second spell for Firja to trigger her. But mostly it's in here because of the kicker ability that will allow me to bring one of my more expensive Angels back into the battlefield. Raise the Draugr, kind of the same idea. More, I see this almost as like a card advantage engine as well, or not an engine, but just a card advantage that I can pay to and return 2 angels from my graveyard to my hand at instant speed. So this way that I can keep up mana. My opponent might think I have a removal spell, and if I have one and I don't use it, or alternatively I just end the turn, they don't do anything, and I use this, I now just got back 2 things that they thought they already got rid of. Kaya the Inexorable, her +1 ability allows me to bring whatever angels on the battlefield back to my hand and leave behind a flyer, so that's why I put her in this pile. She also does a great job of being a removal spell as well, of exile target non-land permanent for her -3. Not really anything to take advantage of her 7 other than bringing her back over and over again. We'll see if that actually happens. Blood on the Snow is basically a board wipe, but because of the snow mana, and it's the only reason I'm playing snow mana in the deck, I get to bring something back. I think being able to wipe the board and bring back one of my earlier angels, especially amazing, since the ones that I really want cost about 5. That should be easy to pull off. Haunting Voyage, even for 6 mana to bring 2 creatures back to the battlefield is pretty awesome, because I am a tribal deck. That's going to be great. If I can set it up where I can play, cast Foretell this early on, again, it's another early 2-drop play, and then later on in the game bring back 5 angels, that's absolutely backbreaking. Athreos Shroud Veil is another way that I can be able to bring my angels back over and over again and make it hard for my opponent to deal with my board state. So once I drop him down, any angel I get down will probably stay on the battlefield for the most part, as that'll be the thing I'll target with his ability. Agadeem's Awakening, again, another one of those low cost of inclusion spells. In the worst case, it'll be a land in my deck. On the upside, if I somehow get to a point where I can make X equal to 4, I have a few angels that I can get back, or I have enough creatures that I feel like I can get back. Somehow, if I get X equal to 5, that should hopefully be game winning for me. The other way I'm trying to protect my board is with Selfless Glyphweaver. I can exile him to make all of my creatures indestructible, so short of an Ugin, that should survive most board wipes. And then maybe later on in the game, if I want to try to switch things up, if it can get more of a board stall, I can use Deadly Vanity to clear out my opponent's field and most of my stuff. But again, I'll get to choose what I get to leave behind. And then Semester's End, well, it is kind of pricey at 4 mana. I do have learned with the deck that if I'm able to establish board presence, maybe have 3 creatures out, I'll try to hold on to this in my hand just to make sure they avoid being board wiped for the most part. So that's why I have a Semester's End in here. Next up was my removal suite, which includes Heartless Act, because I wanted something that was more like 2 mana instant speed. Murderous Rider is just one of my favorite cards to include in black decks because of the swift end and then the body it leaves behind afterwards. Silverquill Command does a whole medley of things. Probably not going to use the +3/+3 in flying, though it is it's still something to keep in mind to push through some damage. More often than not, I'll probably be draw a card and make an opponent sacrifice a creature, but I do have a couple 2-drops that I could try to get back with it, which isn't terrible. Elspeth Conquers Death is mostly used as a removal spell, but if it gets far enough to Chapter 3, it can also act as a reanimation spell for one of my angels. Professor Onyx, this is still a card that I haven't had a lot of chance to play with, so I want to include this in the deck. I think the +1 is great because it can let me fill up my graveyard to help play up with, helps me with the reanimation aspect. The -3 is good as getting rid of the biggest threat my opponent has, which my angels are usually a medium size. So if I can get something that's, as long as I get rid of the biggest thing they have, which might be a 6/6 or an 8/8, my angels should be able to take care of anything else my opponent might have. And then Undo Inversion, just to have a little bit extra backup, destroying everything. I'm choosing to play this over, say, Ugin, partly because I felt like since this is an Angel Tribal deck, I should... the Spirit Dragon doesn't really fit the theme, so I felt like this would be a much more enjoyable card to play with against my opponent. At least, I wanted to use this one over Ugin, I'd say. Next is my card advantage spells or card draw spells, starting with Village Rites, which it really has going for it is that it's cheap. This is another card that I might sacrifice the token from the Birth of Meletis for. But also, again, if they're trying to target one of my angels in response, I can draw some more cards. Yeah, basically that's really why it's in here. I'm not really mostly set up to use it. I can't optimize it, but I think it's still being cheap would be useful. Birth of Meletis, it's card advantage or card draw because it replaces itself by searching for a plane to make sure I hit my 3rd land drop at least. Gives me a token that I can block early and later on maybe sacrifice for an effect. And then again, an extra life. Mazemind Tome. Black and white have okay ways of card draw. Mazemind Tome makes things a little bit easier. For scry, early on probably scry, and then later on in the game I'll try to draw with it. Incidental life gain as well. Spare supplies. So the reason why I wanted to include spare supplies is, again, I wanted some more card draw that didn't really tax too much into my life, and I wanted it to be cheap. For 4 mana, this is almost on par with Behold the Multiverse. Yes, you don't get the scry aspect, but essentially, if you think of Behold the Multiverse as you pay 2 mana, say, to foretell it, and then so spare supplies, I pay 2 mana, I draw a card, and then I pay another 2 mana later on, I draw the extra card. With the foretell for Behold the Multiverse, essentially you're just, spreading up over 2 turns to draw your 2 cards. Spare supplies, except for the scry aspect, is essentially the same thing. Foreboding Fruit, card draw, and lose, and maybe the Adamant token. I chose this one over, say, Funeral Rites because I want some control over what I put in my graveyard. Firja and Professor Onyx give me that control of what goes into my graveyard, whereas if I go with Funeral Rites, if I mill something that I actually wanted to keep, one of my few reanimation spells, for example, I would be upset with myself, so that's why I chose Foreboding Fruit for that purpose. And then Cosmos Elixir, again, is another card that I feel like this deck can take advantage of. The Incidental Life Gain will be nice to start me at 25, so this way it's easier for me to get to that, plus 15, that plus 7. And otherwise, also then I'll start drawing cards as well. So I think Cosmo Elixir fits in well with the deck as a steady source of card draw, hopefully. And then the mana ramp isn't too special. Arcane Signet, Heraldic Banner. I've learned, though, with Heraldic Banner, while white is the most popular color for my Angels, it's better off in this deck to pick it for the color you need at the moment, and let the rest will take care of itself. I picked Replicating Ring over the Indestructible one because I've been liking the idea more that if the game goes long, this gives me 8 mana right off the bat will be better off than taking time off of turn 6 to try to get extra mana. I want to be more proactive at that point. And the other one I want to talk about is Starheim Aspirant. As Angel spells, I cost 2 less to cast, which is pretty awesome. So I can play this on 3 and start bringing down Baneslayer Angel on 4 or whatnot. And then for a mana base, 6 plains, 6 snow-covered plains, 5 snow-covered swamps, Castle Lockwing for some card draw, fixing, we got the Pathway, the Snarl, the Campus, because of the Scry 4 later on could be helpful, or the Scry 1 I mean, for 4 mana, and then Snowfield Sinkhole, Temple of Silence, Command Tower, Fable Passage. I threw in a Faceless Haven, mostly because it is all creature types. So there are some synergies with the Angel that I think could be useful, especially if, say, like Rampage of the Valkyries or Fear's Retribution. And then Field of Ruin to blow up a land I don't want my opponent to have. With the deck tech out of the way, let's jump into the arena for some brawls. Alright, this hand's got a good curve to it. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm playing against AWOLNinja, piloting a Velamachus Lorehold deck, which will probably be mostly spells and ramp that they're going to now swing out with. So we'll see how this one goes up, but I think this is a good starting hand. Nice. Alright, opponent played Emiria, Skyclave, and tap. Start by saying hello. And I'm going to start with the Fable Passage, because I don't want to hope that I draw the 4th land in time. It's passing right away, so they have no turn 2 plays. I'll just crack this now. I would say, let's go with double white. I should probably focus more on the blacks. I keep forgetting that Firja is double black. But I'm not going to worry about it because I have the Replicating Ring. Spare supplies to draw another card. Alright, another land. Or spell. Replicating Ring from the opponent. Ooh. 2. Let's see, can I make this work? Probably not. So 3. If I do 2, I can do another 2 drop. Alright, Replicating Ring it is. That's 4. Possible, actually, with the Arcane Signet, maybe I should have gone with the Ondu inversion there. Ooh, fires. Now things get spicy. It does mean I don't have to worry about as much my opponent doing instant speed shenanigans on my turn. Alright, so 4 mana. That means I have 2 options. I can go straight up with the Eradicator Valkyrie, or I can ramp and then play Starheim Unleashed. So if I get an Athreos going, whatever creature I get, I should be able to bring back over and over again. So we're going to do the Signet, 3 mana into Foretelling Starheim Unleashed. So now the goal here is to get to 7 mana total, so 4, 5, 6. So another land, I can make that play to get 3 4/4s. Brash Taunter, that is nice. Always a fan of this card. This one's a fun one. Whether win to it or lose to it. This will only... I have to gain the 2 life right off the bat. 5, 6. They have 1 land away from going nuts. Alright, so I guess I'm doing more setup and leading off with Athreos. And on the off chance this somehow dies, I get it. And then, let's see now. Next turn... I mean, if I have 5 mana again, that's going to be tricky. I think to deal with Velamachus being a 4/4. Eradicator Valkyrie might be an option. Alright, let's see how bad this gets. Oh, this gets sticky actually. He might whiff, but he can only... This is cast, right? So he's 1 spell. This would be the second one. So he has to pick and choose. Alrighty, some more mana. Yay. So if I do this, it leaves me with 3 more. I think I'm better off... So it's always better to use up all the mana. So I think if I do this, I can still draw a card then with the spare. That's probably going to be better. Okay. Put it on my angel here. Alright, pass to attackers. The trigger goes off. Let's see what they spin. Pass to blocks. This, I am probably for a World or Hurt here. I think I fight the Leyline Tyrant first. Oh, they can't use that ability, so I don't have to worry about that. And then let's see what happens here. Hit once. Right, kill that here. That's fine. If they try to kill it, I'll let that whiff, and then I'll just sacrifice use Village Rites to sacrifice the Angel of Destiny, so it'll come back, damage whiffs, and I get 2 more cards in my hand. 5 damage to my face. Okay. Down to 8. Bone Crusher. Alright, so this will whiff the Bone Crusher at least. Sacrifice this. Comes back. Draw 2 more cards. That's awesome. And now looking at my mana, I mean, Rampage of the Valkyrie is nice. If I can stick that with an Eradicator, that'd be pretty awesome. Right, snow covered. Vigilance. He can't do anything in response. I do gotta be mindful of my life total, though. Only if it deals damage. If he blocks it, it takes 5. There's no abilities that's gonna do anything. So... And it has, make sure, does it have Vigilance? It doesn't have Vigilance, it has Double Strike. So the Vigilance is actually super important. I'm in a precarious spot because if he fights here, then I'm in trouble. I think I need to use the Cosmos Elixir here just to kind of get a little bit more going out of this system. And then, do I play the letter here? I think I gotta stick with, play out another blocking lifelinker, no attacks. And then which one we bringing back? The lifelinker. This one I feel like it's harder for him to kill. So let's go with the Eradicator. So the Brash Taunter can be issue because right now he can fight Velamachus and it's 5 damage straight to my face. No ifs, ands, or buts. So that's something I have to be definitely very mindful of. Ouch, Clash of Titans. That did not work as well. I think my opponent thought that the double strike would still happen. That's what I think he was thinking there. Alright, but actually that was helpful for me. I got to gain a bunch of life there. That was his 1 spell. What's his 2nd spell now? 3 damage to the card. Alright, that one kind of is rough. Alright, so he used up his 2 spells. they fight. Okay. Still gain life. And then comes blockers. I'm actually not going to block. Let's see. Do I block here? I'm going to not block here. Maybe this is what I should have done before. But Rampage of the Valkyries. And then I can play out Letter of Acceptance. And a Speaker of the Heavens. Oh, even sweeter. Alright, so let's swing in with some... is it really worth it swinging with Athreos right now? Really, it's hitting a 4-7. I'm tapped out. He knows I can't do anything. It's not like I'm going to be gaining any life off of this. So, no attacks for right now. Now let's target the Eradicator Valkyrie. And see if I can... Well, I'm trying to set up for real, I guess, is the Stormheim Unleashed. Because that then means that any of my angels go, I'm going to be saved for the most part. So Athreos is probably being nailed here, I would say. Nope, okay. Yeah, it's one of the more annoying things about Athreos, which is why I included him in the deck, is you think you get rid of the thing that has the counter on it, and you don't. So, AWOLNinja, thank you very much for the game. Let's go on to the next one. This hand, it does have some action, but I feel like it's not doing enough. However, this deck does tend to play a little more towards the later setup bit, so I do have my payoffs here. So I'm doing things on 2 and 3. It gets me to 5 for Firja, and Athreos or the Valkyrie. I think getting towards Athreos should be good. I might be. I'm going to take the mulligan here just to see. I like this hand a little bit better. It feels better in terms of curve, of some interaction, some ramp, so I think that's important. Playing against, I'm going to go with that it's pronounced Aris Chenai, piloting a Professor Onyx deck. So I haven't seen a lot of decks that play with Professor Onyx. My understanding, though, it's probably going to be a lot more spell-based, which will probably include more discard spells that are cheap, just so that easier to trigger the stuff. Hence the point, there's duress. So Letter of Acceptance is being gone, or the Heartless Act are the two options. I'm going to say hello to my opponent and play the Heartless, the Snarl, and just show the plans because it doesn't matter because they've seen it. And now they have a total game plan. They're playing Snow-Covered Swamp, so that's good to keep in mind. They probably have Blood on the Snow and the Black Draugr that lets them steal my creatures. There's that. Let's play out the Youthful Valkyrie. Alright, Cling to Dust. Okay. So, using it for some card draw, not too bad. Maybe they're looking for another land. Oh, they got a 3-drop. They don't... Ah, okay. So, what does this get rid of? This gets rid of non-creature, non-land. Alright, non-creature, non-land. So, that basically means Heartless Act or Blood on the Snow. Now, I went with the Swamp there just to make sure I had my colors before I had the Faceless Haven going. It's entirely possible that maybe I should have played the Faceless Haven there as that... Oh, no. I was thinking because that will at least make sure it won't be Summoning Stick. But if I played that out, I still would have only had not enough Snowlands to activate it. And this is kind of going a little bit how I expected their deck to be built, where it's a lot of removal to mess with my stuff. And just, you know, overall using all these spells and whatnot. This will probably be coming to effect later when she's out, so that he can cast a spell and get more value out of it. And I'm just going to do what the deck is going to kind of do and keep chugging along with my creatures out here and kind of say, you know, do you have an answer for this stuff? He's got to kind of find a way for me to get rid of the Murderous Rider, otherwise he gets one use out of Professor Onyx before I kill her. 5. Alright, I got my land. I think at this point, I'm just going to pass the turn instead of playing Firja, because my options, I feel like my option of letting them only get one activation, there's the 6 land drop, because what I think the play would be, if I play out Firja, opponent may +1 to look for more cards, may also just pass. I'm fine here actually taking a little bit of damage to draw a card. Okay. So, Spare Supplies comes up first. So let me draw a card. Now, what I could do is, if I go with the Haunting Voice, he pluses up here at 6. I can maybe, yeah. I think, okay, so now would be a good time. I think I'm going to foretell this now. They've been going after my graveyard a little bit. I don't think I only have the one creature, though. So let him draw a card. I'm expecting to have them play the... Okay, Signet. Maximize it. Now that there's a 6, they're going to play out... He might play out Professor Onyx. He does know the Murderous Rider. But the other option I have is I could use the Faceless Haven as well to go after the Onyx.
Witherbloom is just as dark and musty as I remember.
Alright, Professor Onyx took the best card out of the top.
Never thought I'd miss the library.
And let's see now. Drew the land. I mean, they're set up so that I can Murderous Rider it now. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to Murderous... Oh, let's see. Wait. Can I do both? I cannot do both. So I think I'm better off just Murderous Ridering her now.
Too rowdy for my tastes.
Force him to use the spell again next turn. Play out the Rider. So now either he looks for another card, my opponent looks for another card with her, and kind of, for the most part, will be tapped out. Or they now have to work on my board, or they make me sacrifice him to her ability, and then I kill it with the Faceless Haven, and hopefully by this point have priced my opponent out of using their commander. And then I'm getting to the part of the game now, like if he plays a creature out, which at this point is getting more and more unlikely, I'm probably going to be able to use Firja plus Heartless Act in the same turn to be able to get some value out of that. Turgid's Lantern. That is always a fun one. That's another good win con. Alright, land. Well, let's crack that open now. Granted, I could have kept that in my hand as a discard outlet, but I think it's all fine. Get another black source going. Alright. So, gaining the 2 life here makes it easier to make the life payment. I'll pay the 3 life. Take the 2. Oh, I thought this was all untapped. I thought this was more tapped. Okay. No, that explains why it's pausing so much. And let's see now if I get Firja going. Possible I should have maybe played out instead. Just use the spare supplies. Just wanted to see what might be going on here. Eat to extinction. Alright, that's fine. I'll put her back into the command zone and pass the turn. So my opponent doesn't actually need to play the commander out at all anymore. They can easily just get away with using Turgid's Lantern the entire way to try to win the game out that way. Some Simulacrum will be annoying for the most part right now. It is worth considering now, do I want to use the Heartless Act against it or not? And I gotta be mindful of how many cards are in the graveyard before they be used to Cling to Dust, because now the Haunting Voyage is that much worse. Pass. Activate. Alright, Professor Onyx. Alrighty. If I were to use Firja, I would be unable to also use Birth of Meletis. Okay. So it seems it's going to come down to being an attrition war. So I think with the 8-man, I'm going to swing here. I expect my opponent to block to draw the card, honestly. I'll lose the 3 life. There's that. And then I'll play out my Onyx. I'm going
your books to
to...
page 17 or something.
If I make him sacrifice, he'll draw another card. I'll just might as well look at my best card right now. Resplendent Marshal. I think, honestly, card advantage is going to be better here. And then if I get to put her in the graveyard, I might be able to snipe a thing or two with the Haunting Voyage. And then I'm just going to pass here. With the thought process being I'll use the Heartless Act to deal with the Solemn Simulacrum if they go to attack her. And then it's a coin toss. The Maze Mind Tome I think is worth playing out and keeping around, as that is something that will ultimately net me more cards over the turn. Oh, you're right. He wants to draw a card. So actually my creatures are kind of safe for a while unless he gets low on life. So that's good to know. And he can do that maybe one more time. It's 5 other cards. Alright, so he doesn't have a lot going on with that right now. Onyx resolves. Okay. So who can use Professor Onyx the best? Well, I have a turn ahead at least. And what did he move to the graveyard? Shineshadow and drag to the underworld. Murderous Rider. Well, that's annoying. Alright, well, I'm going to beat you to it. I'm just going to kill... Make sure Murderous Rider is targeting... Alright, let's let that resolve. This is targeting mine. That's what I thought. Alright, so I might as well just kill yours then. To get some value out of it myself. Okay, all's fair. Now this sets me up now to what I'll probably end up doing. Alright, Silverquill Campus is actually good this late in the game. I'm going to start with the easy play. And yeah, the white doesn't really matter. I'm going to animate the Faceless Haven. And that should be enough to kill Professor Onyx. I mean, I could raise him too, but I think this is better because with her out, they'll be gaining life with all the spells they were able to cast. That resolves. I will lose 3 life. So that prices her out of this a little bit. And then let me tap this for a colorless and a white. Let's see. I think the Maze Mind Tome's still actually better here. If I do... Actually... Alright. I want to keep my mana flowing. I think I'll get the Plains here. Get one more less card out of my deck. It still lets me draw a card, and now I have a card I can discard that I don't care about to the Turgid's Lantern, actually. I'm just surprised my opponent hasn't been more aggressive with the Lantern. Either they think it's a cheap way, which it's sometimes, yeah, it's frustrating, and you can, when played, you can be seen maybe as a cheap way to win. But if you're trying to win the game, I mean, it's 12. They have plenty of operations, ways of, I mean, they have 12 mana. They got 4 activations this turn. There's only so much I can handle that. Alright, Murderous Rider, Onyx is back.
Open your books to page.
What's going to be a minus? I don't think it's going to be a minus. I think it's going to be a plus or something at this point. -3. I cannot sacrifice. Alright, cool. That works.
It was going to die eventually anyway.
Ooh, she's cruel. Alright, let's see. I was wondering, how am I looking graveyard-wise? I got 2 angels. Pass. Alright. Draw a card. Silverquill Command and a Nullpriest of Oblivion. Target creature gets flying. Sacrifices the creature. That's a good question. Do they sacrifice the creature? Oh, I don't need that. I don't need the killer. All right, that works. So let's start by doing easy bit. Oh no, it's too much mana. And let me make the Faceless Haven into a creature. Remaining mana, I will draw a card, and my opponent has to sacrifice a creature. Target player draws a card. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. Resolve. And I think at this point I'm going to discard a card, and I'll discard the Silverquill Campus. Semester's End. Alright, this is not really the ideal board state for that. Alright, next to attacks. Kill her.
Thank you for all the kindness.
Alright, and since this is untapped, I'm going to be fine. He doesn't know what I have in my hand. Is it worth drawing the card now in case it's a land? I don't think it really matters at this point. Best option I have to reanimate. Probably the Eradicator, because this is a creature, right? Eradicator. Discards 2 cards. Well, let me draw a card. Well, this gets to be interesting. Village Rights gets me more cards out of this 0-4. I think that's better, but Nullpriest lets me bring something else back. I know I'm trying to starve for the card advantage, but I think this is my better way. If this at least... I totally goofed that up. I didn't figure... Okay, that's totally a mistake. Should have kept the other thing instead. Alright. Nullpriest. Null and Void. Haunting Voyage. No longer any good. Oy. Okay, well... I will recover. Oh man, I should have read that a little bit better. Alright, so there's a debate between the surefire thing and the cool thing. The cool thing right now is Amaria's Call. That gives me 2 things, but let's see. What do we have in his graveyard in terms of board wipes? I see nothing in the graveyard for board wipes. Tigrid Shadow kind of counts. Yeah, board wipes aren't really that good right now. I think I'm better off forcing him to have the instant speed stuff. And then, yeah. I'm going to use Faceless Haven for the kill if I can at this point. That's my best bet. I'm really kind of sour now that I didn't use... that I didn't really take the time to read the card and kept the one thing that would have got me more card advantage overall. So Nullpriest was a little bit of a dud here. Cling to Dust again. Alright. So he's very much afraid of this Cling to Dust at the moment. Which he should be, because at the moment it is about to kill him in 2 turns. And I will lose the 3 life here. Let's see, I have 4, 5, 6 mana left over. If I use 2 of this here, 1, 2, to draw a card. Actually, alright, let's use those 2 to draw a card. Alright, go figure. I would say at this point, getting out Nullpriest might be good. Do I have enough black to draw anything else more? No more black to draw anything. So yeah, let's put out the Nullpriest. I'm going to end the turn there. Massacre Worm. Okay. That kind of negated the whole Nullpriest of Oblivion play. Let's see. If I play out the land, if I do this, I can draw another card still. I'm gonna see if he has it. This way, it's another way to win through here, I feel like. So let's go with the 4/4 bodies. This says I sacrifice a non-land permanent discard. So I still have my token I can use. At this point, I think it's worth just drawing the card. See what my other options are. Gain a little bit more life than my opponent. Well, I'll gain 1 life then. You know something? Discard a... Oh, wait a sec. Sacrifice a non-land permanent? I'm going to sacrifice a non-land permanent response, and I'll sacrifice the tome, because the effect's already on the stack. They were not happy that was my decision. I think discarding a card? I will discard a card this time. And discard the land. Yeah, now he's getting desperate that I might be actually pulling ahead here. How important is my life total? That's a good question. Athreos is nice. I think I'll just discard the Athreos. Okay, maybe taking the life loss might have been a better option. The Elspeth Conqueror's Death is definitely helpful here. But even now, the good question I asked... ooh, dang. Alright, that's aggravating.
All creation
Indestruct... What do I have back in my graveyard? Nullpriest and Athreos. I can't. If I do this, I pay the snow. I don't get anything. Alright, well, yeah, I do the Elspeth anyways right now. Now I gotta remember, because math gets a little bit trickier now. So, has 6, 7 mana left open, so he has 2 activations of this. Get rid of the Ugin. And then gets to be slightly interesting here with the Agadeem stuff. Alright, so let me start by, I think, drawing a card just to see what I have. Because if it's a land, I'll pitch it. Alright, okay. Alright, you untap it. Here I'll lose the 3 life. I think here I will discard a card. And how's he doing in his graveyard? He's got 2. Okay, didn't want to accidentally lose out to the Cling to Dust. But I think discarding that, and then I don't think... Cleric could work, but it's not the best. If I can use Agadeems here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I sacrifice a non-land permanent, that saves me a little bit here. I take 6. Nope, I lose automatically if I do that. So let's see. If we undo that option, let's discard a card. I think I just have to at this point. Onyx.
The essence of life is
That was a mistake. Onyx has me sacrifice the creature, and he didn't need the card draw. Like, yeah, okay. Is he getting the same result? Yes. But it was a little bit nicer way of doing it, in my opinion. But that was a fun nail biter there, and all comes back to that I went too fast with the go blank and should have read the card better. Otherwise, I would have been 2 cards ahead of my opponent and probably would have won out of that one. But I'll pay better attention the next time. Aris Ochinai, thank you very much for the game. Let's go on to the next one. All right, I'm going to mulligan this hand. I was thinking, could I make it work? But Fabled Passage and Temple of Silence are not the 2 lands I want to see when I start off here. This hand looks a lot better. 2 for Birth of Meltis, Foreboding Fruit, or a Letter of Acceptance. Haunting Voyage is a possibility as well. Playing against bogasawara, piloting a Killian Ink Duelist deck. I have my own Ink Killian deck. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with the jokes about prepared to, it's time to duel. So I expect a lot of targeted removal. My creatures will not stick around that often. Start off with the planes and saying hello to my opponent. But yeah, looking at probably going to be doing a Birth of Meltis play to 2, play at the second white source. And then depending, though I feel like I need more ramp or card draw, it'll dictate what my next step is going to be, depending on, I guess, what I draw next. Opponent plays a Swamp. Okay. Snow-covered, Birth of Meltis. And let's go get the planes. Go from there. Alright, turn to Killian. That seems good. Got a blocker for the time being, but probably not going to last that long. Also, it has Menace, so the blocker means absolutely nothing right now. Gonna go with the Letter of Acceptance here, because this will at least set me up for either playing Firja, which probably is not going to happen only because I feel like that will just eat to a very cheap removal spell from my opponent. Selfless Saber, okay, some protection, that's good. Must have just drawn that, because I would have played that out turn 1, honestly, just to already get it on board. Village Rites. Alright, so with that being said now, I probably will go more here. Cosmos Elixir with Village Rites could be useful. And then that puts me at... do I have enough then? So I gotta think about this one for what's the best play here with the 5 mana. You can do Cosmos Elixirs and sacrifice Village Rites, end of turn to gain some more life. I could use Foreboding Fruit now, and a spare supplies to draw more cards. I feel like the Cosmos Elixir play is better at the moment because this will let me... I think this is the best use of my mana. It'll gain me some life so they have to work a little harder with Killian. Totally fine with that. It's not actually a pump, so I'm fine with that. And now, what this can do is if I get them to draw a land, I can use Firja, so that's a 5, 6, Spectral Steel. Okay. That's going to hit a little bit harder. Block the dog. Yeah, looking for a little bit more removal. And the other one, okay. Sacrifice the token, draw a few more cards. Alright, now how does this... Now that I drew Kaya, when that dies... Okay. So Temple of Silence... Is mana worth it right now? I don't have 2 angels in the graveyard right now. I only have... Yeah. So... Faceless Haven. I have 6 mana. That gets me to 7. Yeah, 7's fine, so at least I can do Firja with Stitcher Supply, and that'll let me fill up the graveyard maybe for a Haunting Voyage. And then Kaya kind of gets around all of the defenses here. It gets around the minions' defense, and it gets around the Selfless Savior, because this is an exile effect. She may die, and unfortunately that might be very much a true statement right now. She may die, but at least now I will at least get the most value out of her as I can. Alright, so that negated everything that was on Killian, thankfully. Spectral can come back, but now my life goes back to 25. If I manage to gain a little bit more life, this is at the beginning of your end step, at the beginning of your end step. I get to order those triggers. Alright, Finishing Blow. That's a really budget option. Okay. Faithless Haven. Firja. Supplies. Wow. I'm going to go with Lochthwain. I think that's... Being able to draw cards later on might be more important. Alright, Resplendent Marshal and a Valkyrie Harbinger. Again, no angels. Nothing in the graveyard. 6, 7, 7 mana? Take the action. Ah, that probably shouldn't have been taking the action there. That was a mistake. Replicating Ring. Resplendent Marshal. Yeah, because even then I could have exiled that. So that was... I was too quick about putting her into the command zone. Pay Adamant. Why not? Draw a few more cards. Go on from there. I think that was a lot more productive play at least. Alright, so no trigger off of that. And so far, actually, I gotta say this... Cosmos Elixir's kind of been keeping me going, negating a lot of the damage I've been getting so far, so that's been pretty nice. 6 and 4. Yeah, going for it. 6 and 4. Now, if these two die, any other angels worth bringing back? Still no angels in the graveyard, so at least Haunting Voyage is a straight up 6 mana, bring 2 things back. I mean, I don't mind. If they got the trick, they got a trick. Solid footing, okay. Got one thing I can bring back now. Dead weight, okay. Is this something? Oh, that's nice. Used up a lot of cards, but that's pretty nice. Three. I have enough black still, yeah. So, Faceless Haven will go in for a swing. All attack. And then Haunting Voyage. Pick Angels. The Harbinger and the Eradicator. I get to draw another card because I'm at 26 life. And then Semester End. So now that I have a Semester's End, I don't have another mana, so I can't crack this open. But I think at this point, yeah, I'm going to ride these guys to victory. Oh, sweet. That was nice, too. Yeah, so what... Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, no, I think I got basically... I was able to outgrind the advantage. I think he probably just conceded there because of the... he thought that the enchantment would kill the creature, where the last time that happened, it was 2 kills. But Bogasawara, thank you very much for the game. Let's go on to the next one. And that is the video for today. If you liked today's video, click the thumbs up icon down below. If you really like what I've been doing, hit the subscribe button, help my channel grow. And if you have a comment about what you saw today, please let me know. I would love to interact with my audience more. Overall with the deck, I ended up going 4-6 after playing 10 games. I did say at the onset this is more of a fun deck. It's the Angel Tribal theme is nice, is more for flavor. Ways I can improve it, I feel like I can maybe add a Redain, I think is a possibility. While she is a god, technically, she looks like an angel. So it could maybe, in a way, I could fit things in to make my creatures a little bit more resilient to damage. Could also just maybe slow down some of my opponents, because I did play a bunch of opponents that were playing Snowlands. So that might be some ways I could add a card I might want to add to this deck. But let me know what you guys think of how I can improve the deck. TG, I hope you liked the video. I hope you enjoyed see what I came up with. As always, thank you for visiting the Bat Cave, and have a great day.